Hello and welcome back to the Beer Tech Podcast. This is the third episode we've done in just under a year.
We're doing lots then, aren't we?
We are. We're keeping up to our release schedule. We joked that this was our quarterly podcast because it does end up coming out every quarter.
You shouldn't be so busy though, should you?
Well, I have invited you over multiple times to do the podcast.
Was that for the tech or was that for the beer though?
The beer.
Yeah. And that's why the tech didn't happen.
Yeah, well, we were meant to do the podcast yesterday, but we ended up drinking beer in the pub. So that is why the Beer and Tech Podcast today is actually without beer.
It's coffee and sparkling water.
Yeah, talk to me about your beverage.
My beverage, well, it's the new beer.
The new beer?
The new beer, yeah.
Because you've actually done 5 weeks now without, until
yesterday.
Until yesterday you did 5 weeks without beer.
I did.
And how did that go?
Very well.
Yeah?
It was good.
Why did you stop drinking beer and ruin the legacy of the podcast?
Well, I just decided to do the no carbs diet, and one of the things was I said don't drink beer. Although there's not a lot of carbs in beer, but I just decided might as well stop it for a bit. It was quite interesting going out, drinking pints of sparkling water when all your mates are drinking beer.
That was impressive because we went out for a curry and I had a pint and I was like, go on Dad, just have one. And you got a 1.5 litre bottle of sparkling water and drank all of it.
Yeah.
And you enjoy it.
So we could say it's the new beer.
We could say it's a new beer. However, I'd be inclined to say that when we do the podcast in Spain again, we will be back on beer.
Have to be San Miguel.
It will be, to live up to the name of the Beer and Tech Podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead of the Sparkling Water and Coffee Podcast.
Yeah, but it is not even midday yet, so that's one of the other reasons why we're not having beer.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's a nice summer's... Well, it's one of the warmest days we've had this year. So I think beer at midday would be acceptable.
We did check this morning though, didn't we? Because the weather is currently hotter than where we'll be in a month's time.
Yeah, because you might have noticed we're outside again. Out of the 3 podcasts we've done, 2 of them have been outside. 1 in Spain and then this one in lovely, sunny Bromley.
It is very sunny. It's very warm.
In your garden.
Yes, that needs a bit of work doing to it.
And it's hard to believe that it's this weather, considering what it was like literally a week ago, a couple of weeks ago.
We had jumpers on.
Yeah, and now shorts and T-shirt. You got your pins out? You got your pins out, yeah.
Yeah. They're not really pins though, are they? They're more trunks.
Yeah, they are indeed trunks. So, Dad, what are we going to talk about today?
I think we've got 3 or 4 things to talk about. Bendable smartphones.
Bendable, foldable.
Yeah. Foldable,
Foldable,
bendable.
yeah.
Well, actually, they're not bendable and foldable. That's what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that I think we should have a look is what is the next big tech gadget?
Yeah.
Because I think it's all a bit of the same at the moment. I don't know if there's anything exciting coming out, or if there is, we haven't heard of it yet. So maybe some people can tell us that there is some really good tech stuff coming out there. And I wondered if I don't know if you've got yours, but we have this conversation, don't we? We had a tweet going on yesterday about AirPods versus Jabra.
Yeah.
And I think we should do a little bit of a test of them today.
Right. Sounds good, because I remember on the very first episode in Spain, I made a vouch that when I got back, I'd buy AirPods. And now I'm actually on my second pair of AirPods.
Yeah, why are you on your second pair of AirPods? Because you haven't got the upgraded AirPods, have you?
No, I've got
Normally you'd upgrade.
Yeah, well, after 6 months I managed to lose them.
Yeah, how describe how you lost them? Or how you think you lost them, because you actually don't really know, do you?
Well, I know the day of work's Christmas party I had them. The next day I did not. Make of that what you will.
Good party?
It was, but why my AirPods would be with me at a Christmas party, I'm not sure. But they were. Yeah. And I did have to get another pair. And I had to get another pair, literally. The next day, I had to go out and get another pair because I miss them too much. And they're just so convenient. And I've actually we'll touch on my reasonings behind this, but I've actually sold my Bose headphones, and
I don't believe it.
My AirPods are now my only headphones. So yeah, and also on all my devices, they're known as James's AirPods number 2, and the original AirPods are there. So I realised my mistake of after 6 months losing headphones that cost £160.
Shouldn't have lost them. Shouldn't have taken to the Christmas party. But we've still got to do that test on them.
Yeah, we do. I like them.
I don't, do I?
You don't know, and you've tried them.
Yeah.
Oh, and you've not got your Apple Watch on?
I haven't got my Apple Watch on, no.
In the last podcast, did I have my Apple Watch?
You did. You had the old one.
Yeah, I did.
You had a silvery one. What have you got now?
I've got the new one. I've got the Series 4 because you got it. You got the Series 4, and I had the Series 3, and I couldn't believe how much better it was. Because usually, like with Apple, their iterations, they're sort of small improvements, but it actually felt like with the new Apple Watch, they made a considerable jump. Because they updated the design, the screen, the performance,
size of it.
Exactly, and I've just been really, really impressed with it. I also want to touch on the iPad Pro at some point in this episode.
What do you want to touch on?
Well, the fact that
you don't have one anymore.
Well, on the last episode, I watched through it before this one, and I said that I'm going to buy an iPad Pro, and you didn't believe me.
Then you bought one.
I bought one.
Then what happened?
I sold it.
Yeah, it didn't last very long.
It didn't. It lasted 2 months, but we'll get onto that later on why I had to sell it.
Okay.
And what iPads don't mix well with.
So, should we talk about bendable phones then?
Yeah, go on. Tell me more. To give Roman a little bit of context on the bendable phones.
Well, Samsung released to tech journalists, I think it was earlier this week, their first iteration. I think they're costing about 1,900 quid, aren't
Something like that, yeah.
These phones, and they've sent them out to the tech journalists to obviously have a play and see what's happened. And certainly 3 reports I've read, and those 3 reports have all said it's broken within a couple of days for it. Even that just doesn't turn on, or the bending breaks. But the thing is, initially they were all really impressed with it, but I just don't see the need for it. Is that just me?
No, it's not just you. And with a lot of new tech products, there's often quite a lot of hype. I'm usually quite excited for them, sort of see what the new technology will bring. With foldable phones or flexible screens, I've just not really been interested in it. I don't really see a use case for me.
I agree.
As I like my phone. I like how it works. I've never thought, it would be great if I could fold this up. However, I do think there could be a use case. There's 2 use cases where I think it would be good. Your current phone, you could fold it in half, and it would be just a smaller form factor, just so you can sort of store it away more easily. Because some phones are big now. Like I've got the XS Max. That's a big phone in my pocket. If I could fold that down, that might be useful. And also, this is kind of what Samsung have tried to do. So have a normal size phone, you sort of fold it out into a tablet size. But because of the aspect ratio, it doesn't quite work.
No, exactly. It doesn't quite work because of that. I think what you're also doing is the screen isn't as good a quality.
Yeah, so the background on this is most smartphones have Gorilla Glass 3. And the guys that made Gorilla Glass said that, look, we're not going to take your mic away from your mouth. Like that, yeah.
That was an instruction to me, by the way.
The
he can see me breathing.
I'm going to keep that bit in. The Gorilla Glass manufacturer essentially said the foldable technology won't be ready. So
So they've just proven it right. It wasn't ready, and I think you said to me yesterday that you need to have this innovation, don't you? You need to try and push the boundaries to see what can work. I think this is the first time in a long time that we've seen, I think, tech come out from a manufacturer that just isn't ready, isn't workable.
Yeah, well, you often see with first generation products, which is what this is, that they're not quite ready. The first Apple Watch wasn't quite ready. It was quite buggy. Neither of us jumped on the first Apple Watch. But it does take a company to take that first step to start pushing the boundaries of the technology. And Apple have been criticised quite a lot because they're not seen to innovate anymore. But I'd argue that what they do is they just take existing technology that they can build on and perfect or make work really well. That's what I think they've done with the watch.
But it also then comes into my next point that I'm looking at is what is the next big thing in tech? Because I think we've got these bendable smartphones, foldable smartphones that I don't think is the next big thing. But what is the next thing that's coming out? What I like sci-fi programs, and you see, I suppose, watches that project, and
so companies try so hard to be the next big thing because they want to capture that market. That's what Samsung will try to do with foldable phones. That's what Oculus and Facebook and HTC are trying to do with VR, which I think is dead, by the way. Well, I think it's useless.
Actually, but is VR may well be, but what about augmented reality?
Yeah, rubbish.
You don't think that's going to do?
Well, I don't think the technology is ready. I can see like the use case of the IKEA apps are great if you go into a house and you want to, but like the games are just, they're gimmicky. Okay. They really are rubbish, and I don't see that as sort of the future of tech. What I see the future of tech is, I've just thought of this actually, is
hot off the press.
Oh yeah, is voice technology and expanding. So
you're moving into like the Alexa
and Google Home.
Okay.
I think they can both really capitalise on the fact that they've managed to get all these devices in people's homes. The tech is really good, so they can generally understand you, but I want it to be a little bit more seamless and to control a little bit more, because right now my Alexa is just a really expensive light switch.
Okay, I suppose mine's a timer, as much as or the weather report or when's the next train. So it is used as, I think, those integrated. I think we've got a similar thing that happens again. James, you probably won't remember this being a youthful young man.
Youthful young man.
Yeah, which I'm not. I'm just a young man.
You're not. Of course.
When we had Betamax and VHS videos. And we're now sort of moving into a time, because you've got Alexa, you've got Siri, you've got Cortana, and you've got Hey Google. You've got all of these things that are doing very similar voice recognition and doing it. And one of them's going to probably win, but which one's going to win the day? Because you can't end up having all of them.
So you're right. Did you mention Bixby as well? Samsung's one.
Oh no, I forgot about that one. Sorry, Samsung.
See another. I think that Amazon Echo and Google Home have they've taken most of the market, and they've captured people. And I think Siri is quite. Zana,
we've got our first audience now.
Well, we have. Hello, Zana. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, the first Beer and Tech podcast you've been involved in.
I'll tell you what you can do, actually. If you want to twist the screen towards you and just check it's recording the whole time. Is it still recording? Well done. All right. What's the battery like? Okay. All right. Well, if you want to be in charge of monitoring that and just wave at me frantically if it goes wrong, you can sort of tilt it down to you if you want. I think it will tilt down. There you go. Is that all right?
And if we're saying anything you disagree with, just shake your head. And
yeah, shake your head. Just
as to why. Do you like your Hey Google?
Yeah.
Do you prefer it to Alexa?
I don't know, because you can't actually turn. It says turn all lights on, and I want to just turn on mine.
So we need to tweak it a little bit.
So just for a little bit of context, my little sister has just joined us as an audience member.
Or a participated audience member by the sounds of it.
Participated audience member. Zana, just take the microphone. You don't have to come on camera. Tell us what you think between your Google Home and Alexa.
Oh, so what I said before. Well, it's like both of them are really good, but I think Alexa's probably better because, well, at the moment, Google Home is like, if I say turn on my light, it will turn on like all the lights that we have. So
you can't turn on.
Well, we probably can do, but we need to test it a little bit, don't we? Probably need to
not
tweak
turning
the
on the
settings.
individual lights. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, cool. All right, well, thank you.
You may leave the podcast now.
That was interesting because we've both actually now got a Google Home Mini.
Yes.
And Dad was very early to the Alexa game.
Yes.
You've,
the day they came out.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, it was. We both managed to get a Google Home Mini for free.
We did. Thank you, Spotify.
Through Spotify.
Call out to Spotify. Well done.
Really appreciate that. I just got a random email from Spotify saying your Google Home Mini's reserved, and I was like, great.
Yeah, you made Zana very happy.
Yeah. So I've got one in my room along with my Alexa, but I've just
got them together.
Yeah.
Do they talk to one another?
I should try it.
Are they not friends? They could have a conversation.
Hey Google, talk to Alexa.
To Alexa, yeah. We should try that.
I might try. You can do the Alexa broadcasts.
Yes, I do. I've done that a few times, and you can call different Alexas in the room.
Yeah, but broadcast it. Say, Alexa, broadcast Hey Google, and then try and get Google to do something from Alexa.
Okay. Why?
Why not?
I don't think it'd work.
You don't?
No, they might fight with one another.
I reckon it'll work because it's only broadcasting.
So we've mentioned two of them there, but we haven't mentioned Siri.
Well, Siri's rubbish.
Okay.
Cortana's good, but no one's really using their computers for voice recognition, I don't think. And I think where voice technology comes into its own is when it's in the home and it's controlling the home devices. But going back to your original question about where do you see it going and where can it go, I want it to It will barely pick it up.
Okay.
You're worried about it?
No, I'm not worried about it.
Where I want to see it going is to actually be able to control more aspects of my life. I want to be able to ask it what's on my calendar, book this in.
You can do that.
I know you can do that, but it's not as seamless.
You haven't linked it in properly.
Yeah.
You have to do a bit of the base groundwork to make it happen, and then it does link in. And so I can do that with my one. My one tells me what's in my calendar.
And I also want to be able to more easily, I want to be able to send emails. I want to be able to read emails.
Have you ever tried using any of the accessibility stuff to like dictate emails and?
No.
It's quite good. I've used it for writing reports, and I find that the Google version is probably one of the better versions to dictate to.
Yeah.
Right, so what we're going to talk about now, we need to bring something in around...
Hold on, do we wrap that up? You didn't say what your favourite bit of tech was, or upcoming tech that you want to see.
Well, I don't know about upcoming tech at this moment. That was one of the questions. What is there? I can't see what's...
You don't see anything?
No, there's probably something coming, but I think you said we're in a stable environment when it comes to tech at this moment.
But I think we're in a really, really good place, because I'd love to see the voice tech move further forward, but I think with like the tech we've got at the moment, it is really good. It is really good. We can do so much with it, with our phones, with our tablets, with our laptops. What I'd like to see is just more and more iterations like they're doing. But for Apple, for instance, I want them to listen to people a little bit more. So when we say we want MagSafe kept, we want MagSafe kept, and an SD card, a bigger battery on our phones, and it's little things like that.
Did we talk yesterday about touchscreen MacBook Pros?
We did, and we'll disagree on this, because I'm perfectly happy with my MacBook not having a touchscreen, because the way I interact with it, the way I interact with all my apps, I use the trackpad and the keyboard and the keyboard shortcuts, and that's how I'm most efficient. If you
don't think they'll ever do it then?
No, because that would then sort of blur the line between the iPads.
Are they not blurring anyway?
No.
They're starting to blur?
No. Yeah. Okay. It's a good point. So, yeah, Apple are trying to.
Yeah, I think they are blurring. And I don't think... I think iOS is good. But I think we've said before, is you can probably do 90% of the stuff you need to do on an iPad. But that extra 10%, you need a laptop for. You need a proper keyboard sometimes.
So I think here we can move on to the iPad Pros, because I've got a lot to say about this. Because I don't think it's 90% there.
You think it's less, but you do a lot more video editing, a sort of thing that's very power hungry, which I don't.
I'm not even referring to that. I'm referring to general productivity. I think people are trying to make it work too hard, when in reality it's a lot quicker just on a laptop. Now, so I really wanted the iPad Pro, so I think it's an amazing bit of tech. It's so powerful. Like, the things you can do, so editing 4K video you can do, and it's the form factor, the design of it is so good. It's expensive, but I thought I want to try it out. I want to see what it's like. It is the best in class bit of tech. So I go on.
Well, I'm going to say all of that. You agree with it. Is amazing. It is fast. You only lasted with it 2 months though.
Yeah, well, I've agreed to sell it after a month.
But I've got a question for our audience member.
Go on then.
So, question for our audience member there. You can't see the big smile's just gone on her face, which I think she's going to like this question, because we're talking about, you're hearing about the iPads and what we can do, and with the MacBook Pros. You've just recently sold your MacBook, and it was an old one, but you just sold it, and you now do everything on your iPad. Why did you do that? And come and talk to us. Come and talk to us about why you made that move, and have you had any problems since you haven't had your MacBook?
No, but like, I think it's nice to have like a laptop, but I think just because it's too expensive, the MacBooks.
So taking the expense out of it, if it wasn't as expensive, then you'd probably have both.
Yeah, definitely.
But why would you tell me about, you're using your iPad for everything at this moment, and I haven't really heard you say, I wish I still had my MacBook at all. You're doing video editing on it, aren't you?
Yeah.
And how do you find it?
Because like I've only just started doing video editing, it's just like easier, because like I used to do it on my phone, so now I've just gone onto the iPad, which is like just a bigger screen basically, and I can do everything on it, and it's cheaper, and it's just better.
What do you use it for most, would you say? YouTube?
Netflix and YouTube. So
you use it for Netflix and YouTube, but there should be one other bit in there. You do a lot of homework on it.
Yeah, I do PowerPoint and Word. That's it, basically.
But I think Zana's at a different sort of stage to anyone else who would be looking at getting a iPad or MacBook, because Zana's using it mainly for content consumption, and then on the side doing the PowerPoint,
so
which is great for.
If she went and did more productivity stuff, then you think that's when she'd need to go.
The level of the work Zana's doing is not the same as a professional would, because Zana's not being paid loads of money to create really pretty decks.
But she's trying to get to that point though. She's trying to create. So subscribe to her on YouTube. What are you on YouTube?
It's easy peasy. Link in this podcast notes.
Oh, do we go like that there?
Down.
Description. Down.
Yeah. So yeah, I just, you do excuse now. Thank you.
Well, she might have more to say though.
But I want to check it's recording still.
Oh, so
she's in charge.
You're in charge.
Cool. Thank you for your feedback.
We'll come back because I've got more intergenerational questions.
Okay, all right.
Because I think, as much as you think you're the future, I think probably she's the future.
Okay, Dad. Thanks for that. All right. Old hat already.
You
Imagine
are now.
That.
You are now.
But
technical marketing manager. You've got manager in your title now. You're old.
New job.
Yes.
New job. I've got a new job, moving on somewhere new. But what I was saying about the iPad Pro,
You will get this out.
it is, I would say, I can do 90% of the things I can do on my laptop, but only at 50% of the speed.
Wow, that's quite a big difference.
Because there's so many things. So basic things. Take lots of photos, Anna. But basic things like
You have to stop talking while I was drinking.
No, I lost my train of thought. Basic things like emails, Word documents, decks. I'm constantly switching between doing all these different things at work. Like constantly. And the reason I am so quick on my MacBook is because I've got all of my keyboard shortcuts and the way I interact with the Mac really set up so it's so efficient. So I'll be typing out an email really quickly, then I'm alt-tabbing to a deck, then I'm going into my Finder, dragging pictures onto that deck.
So actually, when you're doing multiple streams of work, and you can have multiple windows and multiple desktops, the MacBook comes into its own there, doesn't it? And
it really
it flies
does.
ahead, very much so, in terms of that productivity that you can do.
Exactly. And I think people are trying to make the iPad work for them, because that's what I found myself doing. I was trying to make it work. I was trying really hard to get this thing I paid £700 for to work for me. I was like trying really hard doing emails.
Oh, hold on a minute. I've just thought we're going to put a ticket on your car.
Oh yeah, well remembered there, Dad.
Yeah, that was an intermission, wasn't it?
That could have gone really bad.
Could have been a very expensive podcast.
Yeah.
I was just... is it my one?
No, it's this.
Oh, okay. One thing I was thinking before we rushed out to put the ticket on the car was that when we first did our podcast, I think the first one in Spain, I just had my iPad Pro, didn't I?
Yeah, and you had it out on you, and you said you could do 90% of the things, and I wasn't agreeing until I bought one, and now I disagree even more.
Yeah, but one thing I was noticing, what have we got in front of us this time?
Both got our MacBooks.
Yeah, that probably says quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, are you finding that you're being more productive on your laptop than your iPad?
Yeah, I must admit I'm taking my laptop in more, and certainly if I go about on trains and that, you can have multiple windows open. You can say I use a virtual machine for work for Citrix, and I can do it on the iPad, but it doesn't work as good. Sometimes I have to shut it down. Sometimes if I'm just working on that, then it's fine. But if I want to do other things, you need the ability to work on those multiple windows.
Yeah.
And the iPad, iOS has tried to make that work, but it's still not there. It's quite fiddly.
Yeah, and it's still quite locked, and the file management for me is a big problem because of the work I do. I'm working with a lot of different files, a lot of design files, a lot of video files, a lot of documents that I need to upload to different services online, which are all web-based applications, and I just can't do it with the iPad, so it just ended up being a really, really expensive Netflix device.
So maybe we should do a test, because I think we're coming to the conclusion that you still need the iPad to do stuff. Maybe we need to get Zaina at some point using the MacBook
Do you mean the laptop?
using the laptop, and see then what her view is of using that to the iPad.
Yeah.
And see whether then she'll start drifting away from the iPad because using the MacBook.
Well, I think it's more about learning how you can use both of the devices to their fullest, because I'm not sure Zaina will have really been shown the way that I work quickly with my laptop, the way you do, and she's only really used the.
So there's some education.
Well, yeah,
You do like them. No, it's just.
And I also think the iPad's a much more attainable item, especially the entry level one. So you're looking at £320 for an entry level iPad,
yes.
or you're looking at £1,000 for an entry level MacBook. it is so much more attainable, and that's why I think Zion's gone for that.
But you've also with the MacBook now, you've got the MacBook, the MacBook Air, and the MacBook Pro, haven't you? You've got those 3 iterations. The MacBook, which is lovely to take around and that, but in terms of power, it's useless really.
MacBook
MacBook
is useless in terms of power.
Not the MacBook Pro. I'm talking about the little one.
Oh, because I had one of those as well.
Yeah, that didn't last very long for you at all. So you got the MacBook, which is lovely to carry around and take around. I wonder if that had a touchscreen on it, whether that would make it.
Oh, Dad, I'm not buying this touchscreen on a MacBook. It's not made for it. You find yourself like, I'm trying to hit the dock. I'm trying to get that. I am so
maybe
happy.
Maybe both though. Maybe that's what I'm saying. The MacBook has, so the entry level one has the keyboard, the trackpad, but also touchscreen. I wonder. Well,
I
did you hear that? Charge so much.
They do charge so much, so you need to earn more money.
subscribe to. This is a shout out for CCPC.
Yeah, Zana needs at least 200,000 YouTube subscribers
so she can buy a new MacBook.
Yeah, they are expensive, but I think as tech heads, we like to spend a lot of our wage on this sort of stuff. Whereas Zana's a more normal consumer.
She likes to spend a lot of my wage on it.
I think you'll find she saves up her own money, not yours.
She does save up.
Yeah.
She's been very good at saving recently.
Yeah.
What are you saving up for now? MacBook Pro.
You're saving up for a MacBook? A fish tank. Okay, that's not suitable for our audience.
That's not tech.
Yeah, but well, I think that sort of wraps up my ideas. Do you want to explain what happened with my iPad?
No.
You want me to do it?
No, I think you should just keep it off camera and take it as an error. Take it as an error in judgment.
Yeah, my iPad didn't go nicely. Put it that way.
No. Found out it doesn't like drinking.
It doesn't like drinking orange juice.
No, that's it. Let's leave it there. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, because we've spoken about Macs and iPads, but what are you, Gen Z? Is it you keep on telling me you're Gen Z?
Gen Z, Z, whatever.
Gen Z. What do you want out of an office environment?
Ooh, this is a great question, because I've got a lot of thoughts on this. An office environment or like workplace?
Well, both. There's this office environment, workplace.
Okay.
What would you do? You just said you got a new job. You're going into a new job. What's your expectations of what you would like to see going into that job? And then I will ask you at the next pod that we do in Spain, what's the reality?
Yeah. Okay. So I think workers these days, or employers need to embrace a remote first approach, because the technology is there to be able to do the work wherever you want. And we've seen a rise in digital nomads and people working abroad, doing year trips away, and also working, and people setting up online businesses. And you hear this time and time again. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection to run your business and to do the work you need to do. I think that's very true. And I also think that's true for the majority of work. And I think times are changing. Lots of people are freelancing now, and lots of workers, especially my age, expect that from a company now.
So what do you expect from a company?
I expect to not have a fixed office. It doesn't matter if I'm in the office or out of the office or wherever I'm based. It doesn't matter, because I have the ability to work wherever I want. And I think that being fixed to a desk, or being the presenteeism culture that I think your generation more had, is not a thing anymore. And this new generation of people want want more of a work-life balance and they want more flexibility, because people don't work best between 9 to 5. They don't. Because I know for my work and for my business, I work best between 10 at night and 2 in the morning. And that's not the same for you. But that's where I find I'm most productive.
I find I'm most asleep.
It's true. But I'm most productive then, and because I've got no distractions, and an office environment is naturally distracting. Open plan offices are horrendous. Your productivity levels in an office are so low.
Yeah, there's some good evidence that suggests that we've moved, haven't we, over time.
Like my new job, don't have expectations of it, but what I'm saying is I think it should be moving forward to that, because there are some companies, look at Doist, who do Doist and Twist, look at Buffer, look at Envision. These are all,
I haven't heard any of these companies.
These are all fully remote companies. Zapier, heard of Zapier?
No.
All fully remote companies. WordPress, Automatic.
Okay, yeah, I've heard them, but these are like where most of the employees are under 10.
No, Envision is 700.
No, I mean under 10 years of age.
Oh. So it does work, but you have to like put it first. You can't just have it as a benefit. Any company that lists remote work as a benefit, I would just throw away.
Okay.
Just not interested in that.
So what about virtual working, like utilising Citrix and thin clients?
No.
No?
No.
Well, just being cloud-based then.
Yeah, I mean, like, the tools available now. Excuse me. The tools available now. For your documents, you use Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets.
Or OneDrive.
No,
you use Microsoft Word.
It's not quite as good. I'm talking about collaborative working and actually
SharePoint?
working at the same time. It doesn't work the same. Have you ever tried to actually do a document with someone else?
Yes.
Often?
Yes.
It doesn't work well.
I don't know if it works well, but it does work.
It doesn't work well.
It's quite weird when you see someone else typing on a box.
Oh, you've got to get used to that. I've got to, when you join my business, we solely
As executive chairman.
As executive chairman, we solely work on.
We should do a tour of offices.
Tour of offices.
Tour of offices, different companies, get their take on how they're set up with their chief technical officers.
Yeah.
Find out why they've set up in that way. What they want to see. There's an idea.
So you find companies with offices, and I'll find them without.
Okay, done.
And there we go.
And that'll be coming to you, not the next podcast because we won't be in the country.
No, but the
one after.
So the next podcast will be back in Spain.
And it'll probably be colder than it is here today.
Yeah, this is bloody lovely.
It's really good, really good.
Any last thoughts before we wrap up the podcast?
Well, we were going to do the AirPods and the Jabbers, but we can do that in Spain. So let's save that for then. Just thank people for listening. Thank you for our guest supervisor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna. Really appreciate your thoughts.
And look forward to hearing your thoughts again. Let's call it a day.
Thank you very much. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.